China isn't America's first enemy.
It's just about the idea of not doing a nuclear thing.
This is not a partisan moment. This is an American moment.
Before we even get there, let's talk about the events that brought us up to this very epic moment. Well, to really try and make my point, it all started with this song over here, and to be completely honest with you, I had no clue what to expect. For all I know, this could be one of those highly auto-tuned tracks. Maybe that's why it's called AI, I don't know. But no, take a look at this.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Green Edge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is older than the sea, younger than
It's legit as well, it's actually not that good, so. But it had me thinking, bro, I could just go ahead and make my own YouTube channel big by using OpenAI's implementation of Jukebox, and that's about everything I'll ever have to do. Will I do that? Hell nah. And that's exactly where all this came from. I also figured that it was a long time ago, a bit of an issue during that one presidential debate,
My party is
and
me.
socialist
right
healthcare.
now, I am
and
the
they're going to
Democratic
dominate
Party.
you, Joe. You know that. Here,
Look,
it wouldn't be
here's the deal.
200. It would be 2 million people because you were very late on the draw, which was heavily.
Mr. President,
you would have
Mr.
been much
President,
later, Joe.
Mr. President,
much later.
Mr. President.
You're talking about 2 million people.
You're not
Mr. President,
gonna be
as
able
a
to shut him up.
moderator, we are going to talk about COVID in the next segment, but go ahead.
So I figured it would be really cool if I could make up my own presidential debate with the use of the candidates' voices and faces. And that's exactly what I did. I began with a very simple idea, which now looking back, I could say it was a really stupid one, but hey, I learned, so. Anyway, my idea was that if I could get a model to learn the representation of how a person's voice would sound like, in technical terms, maybe one would call it the voice embedding, I don't know, then maybe, just maybe, I could use that model to transform my voice to one of the same representation as the target voice. But obviously, that's not exactly what happened. Anyway, to continue further, what I did was I trained my own Siamese network. If you don't know what that is, just think of it as a computer model that we could train to distinguish a source from either my voice, Biden's voice, or Trump's voice for that matter, and it should be able to give us a peek into how my voice differs in comparison to either Trump or Biden. So if one were to plot the embeddings onto a high-dimensional space, this difference can be derived by the distance between the vectors that we are interested in. With that, I could have easily used the Siamese network's output for both the source and target audio as an optimization problem, where the goal is to be able to convert the source audio into an audio whose representation comes off as similar to that of the target audio's representation. Maybe that way, I could make my own voice sound like Trump or Biden. In theory, I found nothing wrong with the idea. Maybe I was a little bit too optimistic, but you know what they say, if you feel like nothing's wrong, your idea is probably garbage. And whoa, to my surprise, here's how it performed.
Good evening, everybody.
Restore the allegiance of.
Good evening, everybody.
Yep, it's trash. Moving that out of the way, I realized that it was too late to abandon the project, so why not give it another try? This time, however, I used a few research papers as references, as well as their source code and all, because why should I try and reinvent the wheel if it already exists? This paper, entitled Transfer Learning from Speaker Verification to Multi-Speaker Text-to-Speech Synthesis, presented a method of copying a person's voice with 5 seconds of audio as reference. This essentially means I could mimic someone else's voice, and all I'll really need is a sample of audio as short as 5 seconds, and yeah, I could do anything I want with any voice.
The Norsemen considered the rainbow as a bridge over which the gods passed from Earth to their home in the sky. Take a look at these pages for Crooked Creek Drive.
These take the shape of a long round arch with its path high above and its two ends apparently beyond the horizon. take a look at these pages for Crooked Creek Drive.
This is further explained in the video that I linked in the description down below, or you could just go and check out the paper yourself. So I really did not want to proceed further unless I could get like some sort of assurance that it kinda works. So here's a raw sample that I was able to generate with Trump's voice, and you judge.
I am Trump, and I am the president of the Philippine country.
Well, your votes don't really matter. I mean, I thought it was okay, so... That brings me to the part where I try and make a computer generate probably novel speeches for both Biden and Trump, because why the hell not? And so for that, I had to code up my own web scraping Python script to extract all the speeches for both Trump and Biden from a website called Rev. And all I really had to do was format them a little bit, and yes sir, I once again did not make my own model from scratch. I used GPT-2, a language model developed by OpenAI, and I'm not even going to release the samples just yet. I'll do it later with everything in place. But on to the last part of this entire process. So I really did not want to have like an audio only speech for both Biden and Trump, because that would be boring as hell. So I figured, hey, it would be really cool if I could do some sort of deepfakery magic so that I could make my own Trump and Biden models talk like the actual person they were meant to be. Of course, I did my research and eventually just settled to an implementation of this paper over here. I wouldn't say it's as good as deepfake, but it should be good enough for the video. So please help me welcome Joe Biden and Donald Trump from the University of I Don't Even Give a
I think it's a disgrace that there's an election that's even in the first place, and I am not happy what's going on the way that he's going about it, and the people of this country deserve better than that. I'll be the first to admit that I'm the only one that doesn't want to run against Biden as far as I'm concerned. I think it's a disgrace.
Is he crazy? He tried to blame the pandemic. How is it that he could be so negligent about the pandemic? He's like the guy in the parking lot whose car the whole town just dumps in his lot in the middle of the night. He's like that. But this is the United States of America. There are no excuses, but the American people know why you did what you did. You know why this president does what he does. He's about to make you his next victim. I mean this as an honest statement. If he gets his way, we could be in the position where our elderly, our parents, our grandparents, all Americans would die in this manner as well. Look, China isn't America's first enemy. China is not America's first adversary. But look what we can do to stop them from doing so much more, because what they're doing to our country is unprecedented. It's all across the board.
It's just about the idea of not doing a nuclear thing. I'd rather have peace, right? And China would never support the use of nuclear either. I don't see much of that in the book. I haven't read that book or read it as the author has written it, but I haven't read it. We need to ensure strong infrastructures in place so that all Americans can live healthier, safer lives. We need to empower small businesses and ensure opportunity zones so that states do more to support family farms and jobs. We need to ensure more affordable prescription drugs and more. And finally, we need to promote healthy living through investing in low-income homes and promoting jobs that are low-income by supporting tax and regulatory relief that helps families like this afford the medicine their doctors told them to take.
It has to have the strongest labor force it can ever have, and it has to be the cleanest and healthiest, while providing the people who need to stay and work the health and safety protections to make that work. We have to work like the devil. We are to get back America. That's what a functional democracy is. Democracy means that people are able to have their voices heard and their input counts. This is not a partisan moment. This is an American moment. We are in it together. I've said it before. This is the United States of America, and I believe the American people are ready to get to work, not sit back and take it anymore. We have to start by getting back to work.